as Jerry said, the chairman indicated, no real thought about how are we going to resolve one of these entities because they're too big to fail. They're not going to fail. There has been a lot of work, and we continue to work with the foreign authorities to identify and address potential impediments to cross-border resolution. Now, I recognize that until we have an orderly failure of one of these G-SIFIs and we actually manage that, there will no doubt continue to be skepticism about the capability and will of the regulatory authorities to impose the consequences of failure on shareholders and unsecured creditors, as well as managers of these firms. But I would note there are some recent indications through the rating agencies of the possibility of downgrades of some of these large companies because of reduced expectation of public support in the event of failure, and that's a promising sign. The authorities provided in Dodd-Frank both for resolution plans for these firms under Title I, as well as for the resolution authorities under Title II, as well as the progress we're making in international-based cooperation on cross-border issues, provide the tools for a different scenario the next time around. So we're hopeful that we don't have to address this issue in the future, but we're working really hard to be ready if it occurs. And I look forward to the discussion, participating with the rest of this august panel, and thank you very much.
Okay, and our next speaker is Michael Helfer from Citicorp.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you to GW for inviting me. I wanted to thank Jerry particularly for recounting the timeline in 2007 and reminding me exactly why it was I didn't sleep from September 1st, 2007 till January 15th, 2008. And relatively little thereafter. In preparing for this panel and being told that the topic was whether banks were too big and international to regulate, I proposed to Jerry I simply say no and sit down. But he found that unacceptable. So I will speak as requested about restructuring issues and how Dodd-Frank has promoted various kinds of restructuring in large institutions, or at least in our institution. Before I do that, if you'll indulge my academic pretensions, for a moment, Jerry summarized Glass-Steagall for and what Gramm-Leach-Bliley did. For the students in the room, it's important to remember that Gramm-Leach-Bliley did not completely repeal Glass-Steagall. It repealed the prohibitions on the affiliations between insured depository institutions excuse me, and investment banks conducting certain kinds of investment banking activities. So when you hear Glass-Steagall was repealed and that was the cause of the financial crisis, the first part of that is false. I would submit the second part of it is also false. Glass-Steagall, the things that were the principal problems in the Glass-Steagall crisis, including mortgage-backed securities, were things excuse me, that national banks could do well prior to the crisis and had been doing for many years, and that the real issues in the crisis had to do with the quality and concentration of lending activities, and